The Burj Khalifa, opened on January 4, 2010, was expected to be the first of many megatall buildings, but 12 years later, it still holds the title as the world's tallest building. Surprisingly, China, once a major competitor, has now banned the construction of megatall structures. This raises the question of whether humanity's pursuit of ever taller buildings has slowed, signaling the end of the megatall skyscraper era. Historically, the title of the tallest building was held by the Great Pyramid of Giza for millennia before modern skyscrapers took over. For 3,800 years, the Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest structure on Earth. In the medieval era, Europe took the lead with towering cathedrals, starting with the Lincoln Cathedral in 1311, followed by the Strasbourg Cathedral in 1439, which held the record for 400 years. The race for the tallest building truly began in the 20th century with the advent of skyscrapers. The first skyscraper, the Home Insurance Building in Chicago, changed city skylines. By the 1900s, cities like New York and Chicago dominated the tallest building race. The completion of the Petronas Towers in 1999 shattered previous height records, marking the shift to skyscrapers soaring far higher than before. At the start of the 21st century, the race to build the tallest buildings shifted from the West to Asia and the Middle East, with skyscrapers reaching unprecedented heights. For example, the Burj Khalifa has 23 times more floors than the Philadelphia City Hall. While it remains the tallest building today, its reign as the only megatall building 600 meters or taller was short-lived. In 2012, the Makkah Royal Clock Tower in Saudi Arabia surpassed it, followed by the Shanghai Tower in 2015 and the Merdeka PNB 118 in Malaysia. Skyscrapers are built not only for their symbolic stature but also for practical reasons, efficiently utilizing limited urban space. Skyscrapers are built taller to accommodate more people, whether as residents or workers, and help combat urban sprawl by providing housing and business space within a smaller area, preserving surrounding rural land. While their practicality is important, skyscrapers also serve as symbols of status and prosperity, with the tallest buildings reflecting a nation's wealth and global influence. In the past, skyscrapers were funded by wealthy businessmen, but in the 21st century, many are financed by governments seeking to make a powerful statement. Now, let's focus on the current tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. A surprising fact about the Burj Khalifa is that nearly a third of its height is unoccupiable. Despite being over 200 stories tall, only 160 levels are usable, leading the Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat to coin the term vanity height. This refers to the difference between a building's total height and its usable space. For example, the Petronas Towers had a roof 60 meters lower than the Sears Tower, and the Burj Khalifa is only 2 meters taller than the Shanghai Tower in usable space. The CTBUH states that buildings with a vanity height of 50% or more cannot be classified as the world's tallest. These buildings, though, often become iconic tourist attractions, as the Burj Khalifa has. Despite having 4 megatall buildings, the number is much lower than expected. In 2012, the CTBUH predicted there would be at least 8 megatall buildings by 2020, but only 3 were completed by that year. The rarity of these structures is due to the significant ingenuity required for their construction. Early skyscrapers, like the Home Insurance Building, used a skeletal steel framework, but the traditional rectangular design posed stability challenges. As buildings grew taller, they struggled to withstand heavy winds and earthquakes, prompting engineers to innovate new methods for creating more resilient and stable skyscrapers. In the mid-20th century, engineer Fazlur Rahman Khan revolutionized skyscraper design with his use of tubular steel beams, which improved shock absorption and resistance to strong winds, enabling taller buildings. His method became standard in high-rise construction, and he applied it to the Sears Tower. For megatall buildings, further innovations were needed. In 2004, Tower Palace 3 in South Korea introduced a buttressed core system with a central column and 3 wings for added stability. This design was later adapted for the Burj Khalifa, contributing to its Y-shaped, hexagonal structure, which enhanced its resilience to wind and seismic forces. The Shanghai Tower consists of 9 cylindrical buildings stacked with an outer glass layer, while the Makkah Royal Clock Tower is made up of 7 vertically stacked buildings, with the widest at the base for support. These innovative designs show that we have the capability to build even taller structures. However, fewer megatall buildings have been completed than expected. China, despite having only one megatall building, is home to many of the tallest buildings globally. As of 2021, 10 of the 20 tallest buildings are in China, and the country has built more skyscrapers in the past 30 years than New York did in the 20th century. In 2013, there was speculation that China would soon surpass the Burj Khalifa with the Sky City in Changsha, projected to reach 838 meters. Construction was expected to take only 90 days, but the project faced delays and was eventually abandoned in 2015, with the site repurposed for a fish farm. Similarly, the Phoenix Towers in Wuhan, one of which was intended to reach a height of 1 kilometer, was proposed in 2014 but has since faded into obscurity, with no further developments. Despite the ambitious plans, neither project materialized. In 2021, China shifted its approach to super tall buildings by imposing a ban on structures taller than 500 meters and enforcing strict regulations for buildings over 250 meters. This change stemmed from concerns about China's reputation for building unusual, sometimes impractical architecture, including replica landmarks. The government emphasized that buildings should have economic, functional, aesthetic, and environmental value, signaling a move away from novelty-driven designs. The Chinese government is now focusing on building structures that blend with their urban surroundings, moving away from extravagant designs. A slowdown in real estate demand is contributing to this shift, with rising vacancy rates in cities like Shenzhen, Beijing, and Shanghai. China also faces the issue of ghost cities, where newly built residential towers remain empty. Additionally, health and safety concerns have prompted new policies after incidents such as fires in high-rise buildings and a shaking skyscraper in Shenzhen, highlighting the need for more sustainable development. With China stepping back, the main competitor to the Burj Khalifa is Jeddah Tower in Saudi Arabia, which, if completed, would be the first building to reach 1 kilometer in height. However, construction was halted in 2018 due to a political purge, and the project's future is uncertain. Malaysia has two contenders, Tower M and Tradewind Square, but Tower M won't be completed until at least 2035, and Tradewind Square's site remains empty. Indonesia's signature tower in Jakarta was cancelled in 2018. SkyMile Tower in Tokyo has seen no significant developments after a decade, raising questions about the US and megatall buildings in New York or Chicago. The main issue is the high cost of construction in these cities, especially due to expensive land and limited space. Additionally, the long construction timelines and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which reduced demand for office space, have made megatall projects less appealing to developers. The rise of remote working has decreased the demand for commercial real estate, compounded by the global recession, making financing megatall buildings more challenging. These skyscrapers can disrupt their surroundings by blocking sunlight and altering the city's aesthetic. Additionally, long construction timelines, environmental concerns, and the significant carbon footprint of these projects have made them harder to justify, especially in an era focused on sustainability. This is because of the extra effort needed for the foundations and to stop the buildings from swaying. So, it seems as if the trend to build higher and higher could come to a halt. Proposals for new megatall skyscrapers are being cancelled left and right, and countries like China are even banning them completely. Could the Burj Khalifa remain the tallest building that humanity has ever built? Let us know in the comments down below. If you want to see more about similar projects, you should subscribe talktive. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.